Welcome to Mules. Dad was going on a cool hunt, but I had to stay home and do school. But make sure like, subscribe, click the notifications. Go to mountainmusecommunal.com. Get this shirt for your kids. It has this logo on the back. We have t-shirts too. And you can get this hat or the one my dad's wearing. Make sure to like, subscribe, click the notifications, get onto it.
Hey guys, I'm George Lambert with Mountain Music and Mules. This hunt that you're about to watch is somewhat of a normal day, even though a lot of times we don't share it on video. And what I'm saying is the day started off kind of slow. It was a pretty long day. We eventually got a couple bear treed. The process of getting all the way up to where we was finally going to a bear tree was a pretty long, hard, and a few things that we just can't explain. That morning started off, I knew it was a long shot, but I decided to ride a couple old dirt roads, just hoping that the bear had crossed it during the night and that the dogs could pick up the scent. I rode. Finally, the dogs did strike off the box, and when I say strike, they barked, letting me know that they smelt the scent of a bear, or that's what I was hoping. When that finally happened that morning, I let a few of the dogs off. They hunted around the truck, made a big circle, but could not get a track going. On the truck, they was pretty confident that I was smelling a bear. When I let them on the ground, they just could not find it, could not get it going. So I eventually just put them back in the truck, figured I'd head on towards another area and just start walking up in some pretty big country. And remember that strike, that'll be part of this story later on in the video. Meanwhile, as I'm heading towards the trailhead, getting ready to start a walk, Lil Jeff and Uncle, they're down the mountain range just a couple miles.
All right, got everybody loaded up here and put on the rig. I think George come around here. He's coming in our end this time, so he just come by us, but I think he's gonna rig up through this way here. Dad's up in front of me rigging, but we'll just work our way through here. If we don't strike anything here in a few minutes, then we'll probably just go ahead and take a walk, see what we find.
They've rode some of the roads on the south end of the mountain. Didn't find anything. There's a big ridge that just pulls way up on the mountain. So Lil Jeff lets a few of the dogs out and heads up that big ridge in hope of finding a bear.
All right, starting in here. So full couple ridges here so we can walk up to see what we can find here. Hopefully it won't take too long for the dogs to find something, get something going.
They're heading up the ridge. I'm kind of buzzing through this, but long story short, Lil Jeff gets probably 3/4 of the way or so up the mountain, starting in the real steep country. He realizes that the dogs, they're starting to trail a little bit, kind of leave him. So what I'm saying is the dogs are smelling the scent of a bear. It's not hot, it's not fresh, but they're smelling where the bear was the night before, and they're trying their best to follow it. After a few minutes, the dogs trail up above Lil Jeff. They're in some really thick stuff, and then also you can hear them, the intensity, their bark, houndsman language, they jump the bear, which meaning the bear probably heard the dogs coming since the dogs was getting close. Whatever the case, the bear took out of there.
All right, well, I haven't been over to keep the camera up or anything, but didn't even realize until they was already gone, but the dogs hit the track, start trailing the ways here, and they was up almost over the mountain before I even realized because I couldn't hear them. So anyways, dogs, I think they jumped one, got one going. They didn't cross over top of the mountain now, so I'm going to just drop back off here. Go get in the truck, try to see if I can go around because I haven't lost everything. Dad's hit around the side of the mountain now. Let's try to pick them back up.
Going north.
Now, instead of them trailing to try to find the bear, it turned into a race, the hounds trying to catch the bear. The bear made a lap around the side of the mountain, heading on south. Finally, he pulled up, crossed the mountain, and went out of hearing, and also lost communication signal on the Garmin's. We run Garmin collars on all of our dogs. If we got signal, it tells us where the dogs are. So Lil Jeff and Uncle's dogs, they've went across the mountain, out of hearing, out of Garmin range. Lil Jeff, with the way the terrain was and where he was located, it just made more sense for him to turn around and go back to the truck and drive all the way around to the other side of the mountain range. So he turns around and starts heading back to the truck. Meanwhile, I'm over on the north end of the mountain. I've got my dogs out of the truck, and I start up this old trail, just hoping to find another bear, or eventually I'm worried that I'll probably end up in the brush, just trying to jump a bear up if I can't find one to trail. So, well, we are out of the truck. Uncle and them are few ridges south of me, running around in the truck didn't work out. So, Uncle and them, I'm listening to them. I think they've got a track going. So we'll see. I got Bonnie, my young dog, on a lead strap today. She's just turned 6 months old. She's doing really good running bear, treeing, but she's really gamey. She wants to run anything. So she's not really at the stage where I want to shock her off anything yet. So I'm keeping her on a lead, basically waiting for my other dogs to find a track, and then I'll turn her loose. So anyway, we'll see what we get into. Well, we're basically stopping. We're stopping and taking a break, getting rid of a couple layers. We're pulling, this trail ain't bad, but it's a gradual incline all the way up, so make the person sweat. Oh. That's a Jenny. I think I just heard from the old dog's bark. Well, I'm gonna head on up the trail. They're way up in front of me. So try to figure out what they're doing. Huh? So that, I don't know if you can tell on the camera, but that's what they're trailing. It's bear poop. This is exactly where they started the track.
Yeah, he's up on top of the roof.
Alright, where is he at, Ethan?
He's up on top of the roof.
Ethan, he can do the sniff test, and then as long as he puts his ear down just right. And so far, Ethan tells us where the bear is, what he's doing. Sometimes he can even get where he'll tree, but we'll see. So the dogs they're heading south on the mountain, just struggling. They're having a terrible time. They get, half a mile or so away, and it's just the end of the line. They cannot find the scent any farther. They try their best. They trail around, make big circles, laps, just cannot figure it out. Finally, I make the call to yell them all back to me and let them take the track north. In my mind, I was thinking that they probably followed the scent backwards, the wrong way, and was ending up where the bear came from. So anyway, the dogs headed north on the scent, still struggling. It wasn't getting any better. They did probably make it a mile or so, just going kind of straight north, cutting ridges, going under the top of the mountain. Finally, they started grading off the mountain, and this is where it gets back to where I'd struck earlier that morning. Long story short, the dogs trailed north about a mile, and they started grading off the mountain, struggling. It was taking them hours. Finally, they trailed all the way down. It was getting up after lunchtime, probably 1, 2, 3 o'clock. They trailed all the way off the mountain and ended up back trailing across the road right where I'd struck that track early that morning. How or why they couldn't take it early that morning, and then this was hours later and they was trailing it across, I really don't totally understand. I have theories. Whatever the case, they trailed down to the road. Most of them quit in the road. The scenting conditions was terrible. I think it was my old dog, maybe. She did get across the road this time. Trailed probably another 800-900 yards, and pretty much it was just the end of the line. She couldn't take it no farther. She tried. Mr. Cole, Mr. Jeff, they was down there in the road. The dogs of mine that had stopped in the road, they got them, put them back in my truck, and eventually, like I say, it was getting pretty late in the evening. All three of us kind of together, we just make the call that my old female, she's just not going to get the track any farther. She'd done spent hours. They gather my old female up. So I'm way up on the mountain and starting to make my way back towards the truck. Every time I'm going to do this, Scruff goes somewhere and trees something. So anyway, well, while I go get Scruff, I'll go back to Jeffrey's side.
They updated us. So evidently Roscoe's come down the other side now, so he's all the way on the other side of the mountain, almost down to the road. So I'm gonna try to go around, meet up there, ready to figure out what's going on over there.
Long story short, they drove all the way around on the other side of the mountain range, and finally when they got back in communication, Uncle's and Little Jeff's dogs were showing treat, meaning they were stopped and hopefully they had a bear up a tree. So Little Jeff and them they get around there, figure out where the dogs are, and dogs are treed roughly 2 to 3 miles off the road. So Little Jeff and Uncle start heading into that tree.
Alright, yeah, we're making up here slowly but surely. we got like another 300 yards to go, but very straight up here, so taking a while, but we're getting there. They sound good. I don't know if you can hear them on camera yet or not, but we're getting there. Alright, we're about 200 yards away from them now, but trying to work way in. We're finally hitting a little bit more of a shelter. It's a little bit flatter, so might be make a little bit better time here. Next couple hundred yards. Yeah, I think he's sitting good. Look at he's sitting in a fork of the tree there. Got her on top back, and things very nice. Let's see if I can get some more pictures and video for you here.
So Lil Jeff and them, they got in there. For this part of Virginia, it was a really good bear. Lil Jeff, Uncle, and then two of my good friends that walked in with them, they wasn't too interested in harvesting it. They decided to just let that bear go, gather up the dogs, and head back towards the truck. So back to me. I finally make it off the mountain, get back to my truck. It's getting late in the evening. Mr. Cole, Mr. Jeff, they've gathered my dogs up. And it's time where it was definitely late enough where we probably could have went home. But in this particular case, seeing where the dogs, looking at their track history, where the dogs had trailed, where the bear crossed the road, and the direction they had left the road, trailing, but couldn't take it no farther. They was in wide open woods, but I knew that they was kind of hidden in the general direction of a really nice, good sized thicket that was pretty much in the middle of some big wide open hardwoods. So I knew we could either go home, or my other choice was just go check that thicket out. I knew that if I went home without checking that thicket, I probably wasn't going to sleep good that night. Basically just wondering, did that bear go through, or did he stop in that thicket? Because the dogs had never made it that far. I got back to my truck, got everything settled back, drove around to where the closest location, it was probably close to a mile walk into this thicket. So I let a few dogs out and headed in there. Well, walking off another ridge and scuffed the tree to squirrel. I seen it timbering out and just went in a hole. Good boy, Scruff. Come on. Scruff, come on. Good boy. Good boy. So anyway, got the dogs off that trailing track this morning. Ate trail till just couldn't figure it out. So anyway, I got them back and then headed down another ridge top. I'm in the general direction where they're just trying to trail that other. Maybe I can pick up the track again or run into it. So we'll see. Just dropped down the ridge. I don't know if y'all can tell behind me, but I am in a mess of a thicket. Laurel, cut over, briars. These old short bull pines and stuff, it's a mess. But this is where a lot of times the bear live. Basically where a bear will lay down and hole up for a little bit. So hopefully we'll jump one out of here in a few minutes. So after a good walk, I got in there towards the thicket and the dogs started picking up some scent again. We was getting really close, so they trailed into that thicket, having a terrible rough time. But once they got in the thicket, all the brush, the scent was a little bit more contained. There was just more stuff that was going to hold his scent where he'd rub against tree limbs, branches, just brush in general. So the dogs started trailing pretty decent. They trailed deep into the thicket, and I was standing up on the edge. I heard the whole intensity of the barking change. Basically what it was telling me is that they had just jumped this bear. Dog's starting to trail a little bit. All right, keep eye on Marley. Marley's barking pretty good now. Yeah, I think it just jumped it. I'm gonna stay here just a second, and I think I'm gonna skedaddle right off to the road. Here, Scruff. The dogs made a lap in the thicket, come just rolling, just getting it coming out of there. I didn't see the bear or anything, but it was basically on the other side of the thicket. They come just rolling out of there, started pulling up, cutting these big ridges. When I say cutting, just crossing them, headed south, but pulling up the mountain pretty hard. As I was standing there listening to him, I could hear the old chase. They was pulling up the mountain, and right at the base of the mountain, there's an old road where Ethan and Mr. Jeff, they was sitting there waiting on me and waiting to see what the dogs was doing. But the bear decided to pull all the way up, and he wanted to hit the big part of the mountain, but to hit that part, he had to cross the road. Up he went, just getting it. The hounds sounding really good. And when he got to the road, he crossed right at a spot where he had to pull up a really steep ridge, hit in the road, climbed right up the side of a, I wouldn't call it a cliff, but really, really steep. The bear was able to climb up this really steep bluff. Ethan and Mr. Jeff, they're having a terrible time getting the dogs. I reckon I should back up a little bit. What happens when a bear crosses the road and then you pull up there, and if a lot of that fresh scent is coming up, and then also the dogs can scent your own adrenaline, everything is just wide open. The reason is the cliff. The dogs would try to start up the cliff, and they're smelling all this fresh scent. I call it spinning out. They just couldn't get up that steep part. So they'd come back off the cliff back into the road, but the dogs are still smelling fresh scent. So Mr. Jeff and Ethan, they got their hands full just keeping the dogs contained, trying to get them to go the right way. The first dog that Mr. Jeff had that got up over the cliff, or up over the big bluff, he probably didn't go 200 yards and had the bear caught. All the dogs that they turned loose and got them to go the right way, got up there, got the bear caught, and got him up a tree. They're communicating to me on the radio, letting me know what's going on. I'll leave the thicket and just start heading on back towards the road as fast as I can get.
I'm getting out of here. Trying to as quick as I can. Got a good buddy waiting up. Top of it, boy, gonna pick me up. It's steep.
Here they come around, pick me up. We drive around there. Boy, it's nice. They're not but like 200 yards. We get out of the truck. I get a few pups, and we head in there.
Well, I don't know if y'all can tell or not, but the dogs jumped that bear, took it around, and crossed the road. Ethan and Mr. Jeff, they was around there packed on it. And they got it treed right above the road here, so we're pulling up beside this thing. We'll be at the tree here in just a minute.
To the tree. Everything's looking good. The pups are doing great. We get them tied back, get some video, and we decide that even though this is a very nice bear and it's close east to the road, it was getting late in the day, so we just decided to let this bear go also. We knew we'd be hunting this area for the next week or so, and we might have the opportunity to get on him again and have somebody that was looking for the opportunity to harvest him. We let that bear go, head out, get back to the truck. And I mean, it's just a good feeling to go have a rough day and end up with a couple bear up a tree. Sorry there's so much talking in this video. I just haven't been doing very good carrying the camera lately.
Let it go for another day. We didn't harvest a bear, but had a good day. Like and subscribe.
Make sure to go to mountainmusicmeal.com, like, subscribe, click notifications. We'll see you next time.